All right, let's go to Roger Stone, who joins us tonight from the Stone Zone, stonezone.com, stonezone.com. Roger Stone, who has, of course, worked on many a political campaign going back decades. He joins us tonight to give us his thoughts. You can hear and pick up his show regularly at stonezone.com, stonezone.com. Let's go to Roger Stone. Roger, thank you for joining us tonight.
Brandon, great to be back with you.
You too, my friend. I don't know how much of our conversation you just heard there, but we looked like we had the first Muslim elected statewide in Virginia, the first statewide election holder, I guess, anytime in America. Looks like we have now is projected the winner, Mamdani in New York, and a Muslim, Islamist, and Marxist. I want to reiterate again, our issue isn't with Muslims. I mean, my friend Sharam will be on here later. His daddy was a beer-drinking, pork-eating Muslim. But he didn't practice Islam. He got out 6 weeks before the fall of the Shah because he didn't want to be there. Islam is the issue, and these people are unapologetically Islamic. What do you know and think as a political expert when you see these wins? Where are we going with this coalition of Marxists and Islamists next year and then in 2 years? 2 years.
This is as a result of the demographic change in America. Where let's take New York City, for example. Only at this point, roughly a third of the residents of New York City are white. Less than a quarter of them are Roman Catholics. There has been an implosion in the both Hispanic population as well as the Muslim population. The Republican Party registration in the city of New York is down to 10%. I actually thought it was 13. I was wrong. So demographically, the city has changed. Many of the more conservative middle-class voters, because of the crime and tax issues, have moved elsewhere. So there's been both an influx of illegals, a mixture of foreign-born, but some legal, many illegal, as well as a mass exodus of middle-class and upper-middle-class white voters. So that creates the dynamic in which a Mamdani, who is really not what you think he is. They would tell you he's a grassroots phenomena and that all of these progressive activists rising up to challenge special interest money and the special interest. When if you look at it closely, what you'll see is that his campaign was financed by an interlocking directorate of 501c3s, 501c4s, NGOs, political parties, most of them financed with foreign money, some of it Soros money, but other highly suspicious money, all of it, by the way, illegally. But you would think that a grassroots candidate like Mamdani, who has gotten thousands of hits on social media, you would think somebody would have clicked the contribute button on his website. But in his very first campaign finance report, after winning the primary, we learned that there were no such small donors. So this is a fraud on the people of New York City. Yet Andrew Cuomo was so badly damaged as a candidate. This is a former governor who said, if you believe in the right to own a gun or you don't support abortion, there's no place for you in New York City. You should leave. Now, he says if Mamdani's elected mayor, he's going to move to Florida. Let me give you a hint. We don't want him here with those views. So he was a badly flawed candidate. As you know, he had to resign as governor ahead of impeachment over charges of sexual harassment and assault against various women. He is the author of the no cash bail system in New York City that has caused their skyrocketing in crime. So for those who think that there's some difference between Mamdani and Cuomo, they essentially have the same basic policies. Mamdani's, I think, would ramp up in a much faster and more dangerous way, but Cuomo's as soft on crime as Mamdani is.
Jimmy Carter gave us Ronald Reagan, right? And we could say that we've had other great candidates elected because of candidates that scared the living daylights out of us. Are the Republican Party going to see someone like an Elise Stefanik maybe run and win as governor of New York because of the now new mayor of New York City?
I think that's a very interesting observation. I think that this has created that unique circumstance in which a blue state like New York could elect a Republican governor. Assuming that once he defunds the police, once he raises taxes on white people, that's what he said, not me, Mamdani. Once he opens Rikers Island and lets all of the criminals out, once he tries to tell anybody with a job that their purpose is to pay for people who refuse to work, you're going to see a disaster in New York City as large employers flee, small employers leave, property values will plummet. This is going to redound, unfortunately. I feel badly for our friends who live in New York City, but it will politically benefit at least Stefanik, who already is shown in a new Emerson College poll to only be trailing Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul by 5 points. That's more than a competitive race. Stefanik is battle tested. She's been very, very good taking a leadership position against the weaponization of the judiciary against President Donald Trump. She's also been a major fighter for the Strategic Defense Initiative, essentially a missile shield like the Israelis have, which was funded under Joe Biden, but was never built because Biden dragged his heels. So Lee Stefanik has been a major proponent of building that at Fort Drum in New York, which is, by the way, the logical place for it. The money has already been appropriated long ago, but the Democrats refuse to spend it. I think Donald Trump will get that done thanks to Elise Stefanik.
We had lead pollster at Rasmussen on tonight, first guest up. He's very disgusted with the Republican Party, the Republican Congress, House and Senate. Where do you stand on that? Is this, I mean, some of these are very deep blue states, as Michael Reagan just pointed out, but Virginia, I mean, that was a state that just had a Republican governor. So what do you think is going on here? Does this have anything to do with the GOP not having a plan and moving more forward?
I actually don't think that is the issue. First of all, let's be candid. Virginia has had the same kind of demographic changes I just described in New York.
Right.
So Virginia, which was a reliably conservative state in the 70s and the early 80s, has moved substantially left with the implosion of federal employees in Northern Virginia, a place where Republicans used to break even, but where we now get badly beaten. And the fact that the Richmond suburbs like Henrico and Chesterfield County, which used to be reliably conservative, have become substantially more moderate. You do have a substantial military presence, in the Tidewater area. That kind of rebounds to the Republic. But it has been a reliably Democrat state. Glenn Youngkin's upset victory was, I think, based largely on spending. Glenn Youngkin, a Republican businessman who made all of his money dealing with communist China, and ran as a moderate anti-Trump Republican. Now, to his credit, he did as governor, because you can only serve one term as governor of Virginia under their constitution. He did support Donald Trump's amazing comeback election in 2024, but his election was an anomaly. And New Jersey is also interesting as a state that has trended against us more recently, but it's interesting that Trump only lost there by 5 points in 2024. That's when the state was not targeted, meaning that no resources were spent on the campaign there. Trump did not visit there unless he was at Bedminster, stopping at his club there to stay overnight when he wasn't on trial in New York or campaigning on the stump. And it is important to note you have not had a Republican governor in recent years, but Trump lost by 15 in 2020. He only lost by 5 in 2024, and that's with not being targeted. So all of the Trump campaign activities came from local grassroots people who raised their own money. Mike Crispy is a perfect example. To stage their own events. And of course, Trump did do one appearance on the boardwalk in Wildwood, which I think had 250,000 people or something like that.
Let's talk real quick, a couple more things to let you go. Venezuela. What is this all about? I know we got Russia, China, Hezbollah playing around in there. We've been talking about it on our network since 2010. And then, of course, there's a lot of concern about voter fraud coming out of Venezuela. Is there a combination of things here for the Trump administration? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, look, the the left, the regime that controls Venezuela, has most definitely benefited from rigged elections, and I think rigged election technology. But Maduro is a Marxist narco trafficker. He is a failed dictator. Life is grim for the people of this once prosperous country. The Trump administration, I think, has been very clear that he has to go. There's going to be a lot of maneuvering over the transition committee that rules the country if he is removed. And that's a giant if. Now, if you watched an interview with President Trump the other day, he was asked by a reporter, if Maduro gave us everything, anything we wanted, would we let him stay? And Trump said, oh, he's offered us everything. But he's about to learn you don't F with the United States. To me, that demonstrates the president intends to remove him. But what comes after him remains to be seen. Many people believe that Maria Corina Machado, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, and who was the putative face of the resistance, would presumably be part of a transition. Some will argue that she won the last election, but it remains murky. I salute Marco Rubio and Tulsi Gabbard and President Trump for their resolve against communism in this hemisphere. What's going on in Honduras is outrageous. In Honduras, is absolutely clear that the Biden Justice Department framed the sitting pro-American, pro-Trump president Hernandez for drug dealing, which was an absurdity. They only had 2 witnesses against him. They were both convicted drug dealers. No other evidence. This was a fraud to remove a pro-Western president and replace him with Xiomara Castro, who might as well be related to Fidel Castro because she's a Marxist.
Question, 2026, what do you see happening? Republicans lose the House and Senate. And then what do you see going on in 2028? Are we going to see a Marco Rubio, a Vance Rubio ticket? Are we going to see a Tulsi Gabbard running? What do you say, Roger?
Well, first of all, it's incredibly early.
Yes, it is.
And in American politics, a week is a lifetime. So anybody can tell you, for example, I was on with Laura Loomer about a month ago, and she just matter-of-factly said, well, we're going to lose the House. Actually, we don't know that yet. It's possible we could lose the House, but it's also possible we could not lose the House. It's even possible that we could gain and broaden our margin a bit in the House. I don't think it's likely that we will lose the Senate, but even there, it is too early to say. What will the inflation rate be at that time? Are we at war at that time? Is there a war that we've been drawn into in Europe? That's a real possibility. What are housing prices like? What's the Fed set the interest rate at that point? What is unemployment? What is inflation? All of these things will be key factors. It's much too early to say. This much we can say: the Republicans are doing a good job of fundraising, so they will have the ammunition necessary to communicate to voters, which is still vitally important. The left is lost. I mean, the leaders of the party of Harry Truman and John F. Kennedy, the party that, although perhaps more liberal than we are, still supported the concept of free enterprise, capitalism, a strong national defense, and even God. That Democrat Party literally no longer exists. And the new heads of that party are Zohran Mamdani and AOC and Jasmine Crockett. And as I say, Mamdani, and that tired old socialist windbag, Bernie Sanders. By the way, you notice how Bernie used to criticize millionaires and billionaires.
He is a multimillionaire now.
Now he just criticizes billionaires because Bernie and his wife skimmed so much in media placement fees from his 2 presidential campaigns, which, by the way, is not illegal, although I think unethical if you not disclose that to your donors. Comrade Bernie is quite rich at this point.
He owns multiple houses, does he not?
I think he has 3 vacation houses. He's driving a top-of-the-line Mercedes, which is way better than what I'm driving.
Take a look here, stonezone.com, as you see on the screen, and you can follow him at Roger J. Stone Jr., at Roger J. Stone Jr. on X, and also on WABCradio.com each and every day. You'll find it all also at stonezone.com. Roger, when is your next best dress list come out?
Now, I don't do my international men and women's best and worst dress list until New Year's Day. Okay, I've done it for 15 years, with 1 year that I couldn't do it because a federal judge gagged me, and the gag would have included my international best and worst dress list commentary. But it'll be out on New Year's Day, next New Year's Day. I don't take bribes. Just to say, if you're trying to get on the list, don't even think about bribing me because I won't take bribes.
I've already been on it, though.
You merited a place on it. You won a piece on it because you're a sharp dresser.
Well, I learned from guys like you, Roger.
But beyond that, I must say that it's great to be back with you. I have fond memories of doing a show here every day, and who knows, someday I may very well return to doing that.
Well, you know the door's open.
I know that. I like radio, and I love the folks at 77 WABC who syndicate my radio show, the folks at Red Apple. And you could be, doing it in your underwear and nobody would ever really know. And the preparation, Brandon, is just as intense as it is, that you put into these shows or that I put into a video show. So it is great to be back with you. I do kind of feel like I'm at home.
Well, I hope you feel that way. You've been in studio with us, and we'd love to have you back. And the door is always open for us to produce your show. The guys in the control room miss you.
Great to be with you again. God bless you.
You too. Roger Stone checking in. StoneZone.com. StoneZone.com.